Hey, welcome to this video tutorial. This is a 10-mark apply material from the item from paper 1, Education and Theory and Methods. It would be question 3 on the paper, and I'm going to go through a student's answer as well, just to show how you can demonstrate all of your skills. Just a quick reminder about a 10-mark question where you're asked to apply material from the item. It does require you to apply your good knowledge, following both the hooks in the question and the hooks in the item. Try and show decent AO1 skills. Remember to show your skills of application as well, so apply the relevant material using the hooks, and either analysis or evaluation to score the AO3 marks to get yourself to the top of the band. The examiner would expect 2 equally balanced paragraphs, spending 15 minutes on it, 7.5 minutes or so per paragraph. I would recommend that you write for the full amounts, just so you are going into a relevant amount of depth. Okay. So exploring the question, it's asking you to apply the material from the item, and it's asking you for 2 Marxist claims about the role of education. So there's one hook. So you're thinking about what Marxists do you know, and what basically do they say is the role or the function of education. And the second hook is the capitalist society. So why is it relevant for capitalism? So you'll need to show understanding of the roles of education, but also what capitalism is and what kind of workers and students does capitalism prefer. Secondly, let's have a look at the item. So the item is broken down. It's quite straightforward. What students realised last year on the 2017 paper was that the items were shorter than what they expected. And what they have is usually a little bit of preamble. So basically it's sort of saying what is capitalist society, 2 classes. And then you have got some hooks in the item which the students are expected to apply their knowledge to. Okay, so in this one you could have attached your knowledge to more than one hook. Okay, so you've got the interests of the classes are fundamentally different. You've got the inequalities in the aspects of capitalist society, including education, which are entrenched and unchanging. So that is sort of implying that it's reproducing class inequalities and that it is very, very hard to change it. But also you've got another hook here where you have got Marxists are interested in understanding why people don't always see it, which is hinting at you to discuss a level of ideology and how that might distort a person's reality. Okay, so let's explore this student's answer. What I would recommend that you do is start each paragraph off with the item hook, and then you can apply your knowledge from it so that you follow this logical chain of reasoning. It flows and it will lead to deeper analysis to get the level of skills. Okay, so what I've done is I've colour coded it. So AO2 I have put in purple, and that is showing where you are applying from the item, but also applying to the second link in the question, which was why does it benefit capitalist society. Green is all about the AO1, so the knowledge of Marxists, different Marxist sociologists, but also the different roles and functions that capitalism might perform, or education might perform for capitalism, should I say. And then lastly, the blue is your AO3. It could either be analysis or it could be evaluation as well. Okay, so this student starts off with the item hook. It's very, very clear, and what I've highlighted here as well is that it starts to link. So this student is linking or showing there's a correlation between the fact that society is entrenched and unchanging, is that it makes sense to talk about Bowles and Giddens' reproductive theory, that capitalism is reproducing working class workers. So working class students go into school working class and they come out working class. Likewise middle class go in middle class and come out middle class. And also they've attached here about Althusser that it's not changing because education is ideological, in that people don't see it, this inequality, so they don't challenge it. Okay, this student has mentioned some key points, and they are defined as well, which shows understanding. It doesn't assume the reader knows the definition, or it doesn't assume that the examiner knows the definition. So the student then explains it. It says it systematically and continuously fails the working class, condemning them to a life of poverty, and it goes through. And then what the student does, it hooks it to the second hook in the question. So this benefits capitalism. It is ensuring that there's always a proletariat in society ready to be exploited workforce. And then the student attaches a little bit more knowledge to this. School is teaching you to think it is normal to obey. So when your boss orders you, it's perfectly normal. Likewise, in school, you obey your teacher. So the education is this machine that grinds out the inequality. It needs to survive, which is linking this idea about it being entrenched and unchanging. It's reproducing the workers. Okay, so the student has explained it pretty well. And then we've got the analysis and evaluation. So here the student says, however, this viewpoint is criticised by postmodernists, as in a post-Fordist society with an ever-changing economy. It requires a skilled, flexible workers rather than an army of obedient workers, meaning that social mobility exists and the inequalities is subject to change. So it's criticising that point about that has been made, entrenched and unchanging. So this AO3 is logical. It follows on, and this is what we would like to see in your answers. This flow from the item, you're attaching your knowledge, you're linking to the second part of the question, and then your analysis or evaluation flows logically. Okay, so this student has so far showed decent application, decent knowledge and analysis of that paragraph. So then the student starts to go on about paragraph 2 with the second hook from the item. People do not always see the real cause of inequalities in society. And then they've got this linking sentence. This is relating to Bowles and Gintis' idea of myth of meritocracy. Children, and when explaining it, children are taught that there's an equal chance. That is what meritocracy is, but it is skewed against the working class, hence it being a myth. Capitalism is attributing poverty to personal failure. Personal failure is a lack of effort. So it's making these students believe that meritocracy exists, and when they fail it's their own fault, not that the system is skewed. And then the student then links it to the second part of the question. Why is it so important that this myth of meritocracy exists? Because it benefits capitalism. It's performing this ideological function, masking the true cause of capitalism, which is, and again it backs it up with a bit of knowledge, is to exploit the working class. It's preventing a revolution. It's preventing the proletariat realising that they are being exploited, because they need to be kept there. It needs a submissive, obedient and unskilled workforce that capitalism needs. And now here's the logical AO3, because Willis's study, who was a neo-Marx, now neo-Marxist, if you're not familiar, combines capitalism but studies it from an interactionist viewpoint, suggesting that within capitalism there is an element of free will. And Willis is a really good example that we could use here. And what he found was that some of these working class lads saw through the ideology. They knew that meritocracy did not exist. They knew that the system was skewed against them, and they understood that there wasn't equal chance in society, and they created a counterculture rejecting its values and not accepting them as Bowles and Gintis believes, linking it logically back to the point that was made. Okay. So overall, this student has worked really, really hard in timed conditions to produce a logical answer which answers the question. Okay, so as an examiner myself, the commentary that I make is that the student has done pretty well in the time allowed. It has showed good understanding of the question. They've talked about roles or functions of education. They have good understanding of Marxist viewpoints. The student clearly understands this theory because it's broken down logically, understands how it fits together. The application from the item, the knowledge matches the point made in the item, it was logical, and further application of knowledge as the student applies to the benefit of capitalist society as well. They understood what was being requested of them in this answer. And the evaluation of both of them is logical and relevant, it flows. And to me as an examiner, this showed a well-balanced answer, and I put it into the top band. Okay, so student's answer, in answer to this short question at the top there. Okay, so hopefully you can see how the student has got the marks and how the student has produced a logical answer. Okay, thank you for listening. If you've got any questions or any comments, please don't hesitate to talk to me, and I will try and get back to you. Okay, thank you for listening and have a great evening.